and happy summer. I'm Ann Butera. I am so glad to have you joining me in my garden today. I want to show you around and give you the June tour. June might be my favorite month in the garden. So much changes from May to June, and I can't wait to show you what's been going on. So let's take a look around. First, do you remember the irises I shared last month? Well, I wanted to start by showing you what color they ended up being. They're no longer blooming, but oh, were they gorgeous. I thought for sure that they would be purple, and I was surprised and delighted to see that they were this rich, deep red. I'm going to start the tour going through the back gate. We don't really go through this gate very much, but I wanted to start here because the honeysuckle is looking and smelling amazing this year. One day I watched a hummingbird visit flower after flower after flower, and it brought me so much joy. Entering into the garden, this is the south end. I love these petunias that I have hanging on the fence here. They're so pretty and I can't wait to paint them. Stepping forward into the garden, you run right into the long raised bed where the maple tree stump is. I have lots of things growing in here, a mix of things, and the big columnar apples. In that bed and all my other beds, I'm still waiting for a lot of things to bloom. But one of the things that is blooming and has been so beautiful this month are my roses, especially this gorgeous David Austin rose, the poet's wife. I used to grow so many roses, and I've been slowly digging my roses out here because they are attacked so badly every year by Japanese beetles, but I am grateful that the first flush of flowers each year seems to be unaffected because the beetles haven't emerged yet. Sadly, I saw the first one of the year this week, but I'm savoring these flowers. They are so beautiful, and this year the plant is so full. Although I have dug out other roses, this one is for sure staying in my garden. I really wish you could smell these roses. Across the path from the poet's wife is a rugosa rose called Snow Pavement. It's a very pale pink and the bees adore it. Matthias thinks that it smells better than the poet's wife, and I like the fragrance of the poet's wife better. Both are so fragrant. My third remaining rose is also a rugosa that smells so good. I think it's Hansa, and it's on the opposite side of the garden. Let's jump back to the south side of the garden. I want to show you one of my very favorite plants that is also the favorite of the bees. There are so many humming bees visiting my catnip plants. I have 3 of them throughout the garden. It's similar to catnip, but it has prettier flowers and it doesn't take over in the garden the way catnip tries to. It also doesn't seem to be as attractive to cats, although I think Fiona likes it. I'm glad that Fiona is short because although she can reach the strawberries, there's no way that she's reaching the cherries. And they are just starting to turn red. I can't wait to harvest them, and I hope that I can be quicker than the birds. So many birds visit our garden, and I'm really grateful to see them and to hear them. We have a bird bath, and I am delighted every time I see birds using it. They are in it every day, and it just makes me so happy. I don't mind sharing my garden and my cherries and my strawberries and my other fruits with the birds who come to visit my garden. And of course, I don't mind sharing my flowers with all the wildlife too. Speaking of fruit, these baby peaches are getting bigger every day. Do you remember how small they were last month? I did make comfrey fertilizer tea between last month and this. This week I strained it out and diluted it and used it to fertilize my plants. It was pretty stinky, but not as bad as fish fertilizer. Before I point out any other specific plants, I just want to give an overview of the garden. We're on the south end and now I'm turning towards the north, so you can see the whole garden from here. I'm going to take you to the opposite side of the yard. This bed is on the northwest corner right beside the garage, and there's a lot going on here right now. Beautiful clematis are blooming. The bright pink rose campion is blooming. I love that bright color. I have forget-me-nots blooming. These sweet little lilies are blooming. It's so full of color, and everything I see just begs me to paint it. I'm always happy to know that I am not the only one enjoying my garden. I think this little lily is Martagon Sunny Morning, and they are just delightful. Let's turn towards the east, and you can see the area that I newly redid this year. It's where I have my tomatoes growing. I'm training and pruning my tomatoes to each have just one stem. And so far, things are going well. There is nothing like a homegrown tomato, and I'm so excited for the first ones. I know it's still gonna be a while. Separating the patio from that area is another big catmint plant. I have peppers, nasturtiums, eggplants, basil, sweet alyssum, all planted over here. Things seem to be doing pretty well despite our drought. There's my rugosa. I have a bunch of annual flowers I'm still waiting to bloom. Over here, spinach and arugula, which are just finishing up. Tucked in among the spinach and arugula are some golden beets. I'm excited to try these. I have bok choy that I'm growing for the first year, and it seems to be doing very well, which I'm excited about. Something else I'm excited about growing this year for the first time is sweet corn. This variety is a miniature version called Blue Jade, so I can't wait to see how that turns out. So far, so good. My snap peas were so slow to get started this year. They are finally putting on some growth, and I finally see some flowers. I know that they will go fast from here on out. In fact, just 2 days after spotting those first flowers, I see my first little baby peas. On the other arch, I'm growing some French climbing beans, and they've been a bit slow to start too. My lettuce was really slow to get going too. This is a heat-tolerant variety, and it seems to be doing well finally, and it looks like I can harvest it soon. I got an email last month after my garden post went up on my blog from Linda, and she said she had to look up what walking onions were. If you were wondering too, these are walking onions. They are weird and they are wonderful, and I love growing them in my garden. In last month's video, I mentioned I was growing radishes even though I said I wouldn't. Today, I wanted to show you that I'm also growing some summer squash even though I said I wouldn't do that either. One type of plant that's not surprising to see in my garden is basil. I have a lot of it all over the place in my garden, including lots of pots. We eat a lot of basil and have already made our first batch of pesto, which is so delicious. We even froze some, and I know we'll love taking that out in the middle of the winter and tasting summer. Although this is a garden tour video, I did want to quickly mention that I'm making progress on my studio move, and I am managing to paint amid the chaos. I'm so glad to be working from garden inspiration again, and I hope to keep going with it. When I look at these kale leaves, I want to grab my paints and start mixing colors. And that's true when I look at the eggplant as well. so many different colors of green and delicious purple. I just really want to capture that with paint. It's also important that I just enjoy being in this space. I know a lot of the time that I'm out here, I get distracted by projects or things that need to be tended to. I'm spending a lot of time every day watering because we're in a drought. Even so, just being outside, enjoying myself, spending time with the girls, spending time with Matthias, relaxing and slowing down and savoring, it's so important to me, and it's been helping me get out of the funk I've been in. I am still loving my scented geraniums, and they are flowering and flowering. I cannot get over these beautiful flowers on this variety that I don't know the name of. The tag just said scented geranium, but I'm so glad that it is in my garden. And the other varieties too, I love them so much. They were some of the first plants I fell in love with many years ago when I first started gardening. Another plant I really love is this gorgeous butterfly weed, which just started blooming. I love it because it's beautiful and because it's food for monarch caterpillars. My garden is far from perfect, and I've let this mullein plant, which seeded itself last year, grow, and this year it has its flower stalk. It's good to let at least some area of the garden be a little bit wild. I guess that's all for this month's garden tour. There is still a lot to come, and I know things will change so much between now and July, just like things changed a lot between May and June. Thank you so much for joining me in my garden today. I would love to hear what's been going on in your garden. Until next time, I'm wishing you joy.